Welcome back. With November ballots set to be determined tomorrow, we're bringing in our political analyst and founder of the Cornyn Report, Harvey Kronberg, to break it all down. Harvey, welcome back to the show. Cornyn's team told our Aaron Davis earlier in the show that Ken Paxton would be a disaster as the Republican nominee. How do you think that argument is going to play with Republican primary voters tomorrow?
I think it has some resonance. It just, of course, it depends on who's going to turn out. But the assumption is that Republicans enjoy a 10% base vote superiority over Democrats, and that Cornyn can bring that 10% back home. Paxton, because of his ethical mishaps and the fact how most of what people know about him is negative, the general election voter, most of what they know about him is negative, that 10% advantage would be dwindled down to a 2 or 3% advantage, which would be work to James Tallarico's benefit. In addition to which, most of the Republican House members I know do not, in competitive races, do not particularly want to run with Paxton at the top of the ticket, which is kind of a tell. They're the ones closest to the ground.
Yeah, and I think that's the argument that Cornyn is making, that it could affect the down ballot races.
Yep. We have 25, potentially 20, up to 25 competitive House races, and with congressional redistricting, a lot of these folks are going to have fairly new districts that they're not familiar with. People don't know them, and according to my calculations, we have 15 potential competitive districts that the Republicans drew. Based on my numbers, not only will they not get 5, they could actually lose 1 or 2. So with Paxton at the top of the ticket, the stakes are much higher.
But Paxton's team seems confident heading into Election Day. They've got the coveted Trump endorsement. They've told reporters they're not taking their foot off the gas. So did Paxton learn something from the March primary when Cornyn edged him out?
Well, they didn't have very much gas to put their foot on to start with. They didn't have very much money relative to the money that John Cornyn has spent. But I guess when everything is said and done, that Paxton, well, one of the numbers crunchers out there has come up with, did an evaluation essentially, and discovered that the counties that Cornyn carried outperformed in early voting the counties that Paxton carried. So that suggests that Cornyn may be doing better in early voting, but the political professionals generally presume that the Trump endorsement pretty much puts a nail in the Cornyn campaign. We'll see, but it may actually this may be the one place where there's kind of reverse magic going on, because parachuting in at the last minute like that.
Yep.
One other tell, and that is that when he announced his endorsement for Paxton, he was very gentle towards John Cornyn. 24 hours later, he was vitriolic and said he's betrayed me, he wasn't with me, and he got very negative on him. That suggests he sees something, or his people see something that we don't see on the ground here.
And Cornyn, of course, counting on what he's called the independence of Texas voters. But Harvey, let's go down ballot to the Attorney General's race, because both parties are going to decide their nominees tomorrow. Break down the Republican race, in which millions of dollars have been spent to distinguish 2 candidates whose policies aren't all that different.
Well, to a certain degree, I would disagree. Mays Middleton has kind of staked his career on social and cultural issues. And he started his campaign writing a check to his own campaign for $10 million. Chip Roy has never been able to compete financially, or he started with better name ID, but he didn't. I couldn't I'm in a Republican precinct. I could not open my mailbox for months without having a Mays Middleton flyer in there. And if you watch Fox News or any of the conservative stations, he's pretty much dominated those airwaves. So you got to presume ideological.
But Chip Roy recently just got a huge infusion from Amarillo businessman Alex Fairley.
Yeah,
almost $3 million.
Yeah, but it's late, and Mays Middleton has created a brand, I suspect, and you know, it's kind of catchy. MAGA Mays is how he's branding himself. It's possible that Roy can come from behind on this, but in this case, you probably have to default for the money.
What about the Democratic side of the race? Because we've got State Senator Nathan Johnson of Dallas, who was so close to winning it outright in March against former Galveston Mayor Joe Jaworski. I mean, do you think that Johnson will finish the job tomorrow, or could Jaworski have a surprise?
There could always be a surprise. The turnout on the Democratic side has been particularly low. However, you do have 2 hotly contested congressional races, one in Houston in the Democratic primary, and and one in Dallas. That could drive turnout, but the conventional
one
wisdom,
in each home's turf, so maybe they balance out.
Exactly, but I think that Nathan Johnson is a more known factor in Texas Democratic politics than Jaworski, although the Jaworski name still has cachet left over from the Watergate days.
And lastly, the railroad commissioner race, where challenger Beau French is going up against incumbent Jim Wright. Why has this race for an office that oversees oil and gas, Harvey, gotten so much national attention?
Well, the entire oil and gas complex is petrified at the thought of a Beau French win in this race. Presumptively, the Republican nominee is going to win the Railroad Commission race. We'll see if that actually plays out. But he's built a campaign on hate, essentially. He's the same guy when he was Tarrant County Republican Party chair that ran an internet poll, who's more dangerous to the country, Muslims or Jews? And that is kind of a dangerous brand, dangerous to have as the face of the oil and gas industry in a state like Texas. So you've got both Greg Abbott and Dan Patrick who are visibly opposing him. Patrick actually lent his political consultant to James Wright.
Well, we'll see if it's going to be enough. It'll be a very interesting race tomorrow. Harvey Kronberg, thank you for joining the show.
Always a pleasure.